Ronald the Rules Lawyer. I once did a video on Pathfinder stealth and detection rules. It was a two-parter that included a combat demonstration, and it was also kind of long. I am challenging myself today with a time limit. Can I go over the basics of these rules in 9 minutes? I am Ronald the Rules Lawyer. I am a lawyer who runs tabletop role-playing games. Support my Patreon. I don't make money as an attorney. For more info on why, look at the video whose thumbnail is on the screen. Supporting my Patreon gives you ad-free early access to most of my videos and exclusive content. First, a warning about my video. The rules are not simple, but it's a complex subject, and everything works the way you would expect them to in the fantasy world. I'll go over most of the rules that will jumpstart your Pathfinder stealth and detection journey. Okay, normally when you see something, you can attack it. You make an attack roll against its armor class. No muss, no fuss. But what if you can't see it for some reason? Maybe it's invisible. Then you have a 50-50 chance of targeting it at all. So before you make your attack roll, you have to do what I call a targeting check, where you have a 50% chance of targeting it. You also do this if you cast a spell targeting the goblin, as opposed to one that has an area that happens to include the goblin. Before the goblin makes their saving throw, roll a d20 and you need an 11 or higher. Pathfinder calls this a flat check because there are no modifiers to the roll, and because you need an 11 or higher, it's called a DC 11 flat check. This goblin is hidden to you. It is a condition in Pathfinder, and Pathfinder gives name to things so that other rules in the system can refer to it. It creates a learning curve, but in the long run, streamlines play. Hey, but there's an important distinction to make here. You can't see the goblin, but you know where it is. You might be able to hear its footsteps. Other times, you don't know where the goblin is at all, in which case it is undetected. And that's tough if you're trying to attack it. You have to guess what square the goblin is in. And no matter what, the GM rolls a DC 11 flat check behind the screen, and you have no idea if you chose the right square. Meanwhile, what's it called when you can see the goblin? Then it is observed. These are the three main conditions for sensing creatures. They let you talk in a shorthand. Let's take this goblin, which walks behind a rock, not completely behind it so you can still see it. It gets an armor class bonus from the cover the rock provides, but it is still observed by you. But because it has cover, it can take the hide action. It rolls stealth versus your perception DC. If you come from D&D 5e, think passive perception. It tries to beat your perception score plus 10. If it succeeds, it becomes hidden to you. It's going to take another action to try to lose you and become undetected. This is the sneak action, and you have to be hidden, at least, in order to attempt it. It moves up to half of its speed, and it has to end up behind cover or concealment, such as what you get from fog or dim light. If it succeeds at sneaking, it becomes undetected to you. There is another condition called concealed. Here you can see the goblin, but it's shrouded in dim light. It's observed by you, you can see it, but it's also concealed. To target it, you need to do a DC 5 flat check, which is an 80% chance. Now, why not make observed and concealed exclusive to each other? It just made sense to structure sneak and other rules around the three main categories we saw earlier. These are all relative conditions. They all describe how one particular creature can sense you. Let's say there's a goblin in this pitch black darkness. It can be undetected, or it can be hidden to this human, while simultaneously it can be observed by a dwarf ally who has dark vision. Also, if you want to adhere to rules as written, if this goblin does a stealth action, it has to compare it to the perception DC of each observing enemy. This means tracking different states for different creatures, which is complicated, but what we're dealing with is complicated. This example also shows you take into account the senses of the observer. Different senses have different levels of precision. Here is a nose. With your nose, you can detect if something smelly is nearby, but it's hard to pinpoint. In Pathfinder, this is called a vague sense. You can never pinpoint where something is with it. If you're relying on this sense, the best you can do is notice that it's in the area and make it undetected. What about your ears? You now know not just that something's present, but you also know what direction that sound is coming from, and in Pathfinder, you can pinpoint what square it's in. If an invisible creature walks normally and does not sneak, then you can follow it by listening to the noise it makes. They are hidden to you, and your ears are considered what's called an imprecise sense in Pathfinder. The best that you can sense something is to make it hidden to you. Now, our eyes are obviously our precise sense. Now, some creatures switch things around, like the giant bat, which has echolocation. For it, hearing is its precise sense. So in a pitch black room, so long as they can hear, they don't need to do a targeting check when attacking you. For many animals, scent is an imprecise sense such as for this cave bear whose scent is an imprecise sense within 30 feet. So here's an example. Let's say your spellcaster casts blindness on the bear. Now everyone in the party becomes hidden to it immediately. Normally, because everyone's hidden, they can now try to sneak. The fighter just walks up to it and doesn't bother sneaking. He remains hidden. The ranger chooses to sneak to this spot and succeeds on his stealth check. So is he undetected? No! No amount of sneaking can block the bear's nose, and because he's within 30 feet, the dwarf remains just hidden. Still, every attack by the bear against any member of this party must succeed at a DC 11 flat check. Let's say it mauls the wizard badly, and the wizard now wants to get away. He uses his first action to stride away, and his second action to sneak away beyond the 30-foot range of the bear's scent ability. The wizard has become undetected. You now know the basic terms of stealth and detection in Pathfinder, and all of the other rules in Pathfinder assume this basic knowledge. Here are some examples. The sneak action is a lot of words. Oh my God! The text just covers common situations, and it coheres with common sense. So long as you accept that you need something to hide behind or in, and that you have to be careful to maintain your stealth. And we'll see that the vocabulary you've learned stays useful, and that it works harmoniously with Pathfinder's 4 degrees of success. Now let's take the example of a goblin who wants to hide and get away into a dimly lit area nearby. First it hides and becomes hidden. Then it tries to sneak. If it succeeds, it becomes undetected. Now, if it fails its roll and does not critically fails, it remains hidden. You still know where it went, you can still hear it. If it critically fails, such as rolling 10 under your perception DC, then it becomes observed by you, assuming there's sufficient conditions for you to see it. And here, it's under dim light, so you can still observe it, but it is concealed to you. If we're talking a pitch black area, then it remains hidden, because your precise sense, your eyes, cannot penetrate the darkness. Another rule is that if you are hidden or undetected to a creature, then it is off guard to you. It has a -2 circumstance penalty to its armor class. There are other rules in the system, like a rogue sneak attack ability that does bonus damage if the rogue attacks with certain attacks and the enemy is off guard. This rogue is observed by the goblin. However, she can use her deception skill to create a diversion that makes her hidden for a short time. The goblin is now off guard to her, and she can get sneak attack damage. Or she can use this to sneak away since she is now hidden, so long as she ends up in a place that has cover or concealment. Now, what if something is hidden to you and you want to sense it better? Let's say you're the goblin in the situation. Let's say this rogue is hidden to the goblin. Maybe she used the hide action. The goblin can use the seek action to try to perceive her better. It rolls perception versus her stealth DC, which is just her stealth score plus 10. If the goblin succeeds, she becomes observed to it. What if the goblin had no idea where she is? Then the goblin would use seek to search an area, typically an area 30 feet or less in any dimension. If it succeeds, she becomes hidden to the goblin. It knows where she is, but still cannot see her. If it critically succeeds, rolls 10 or more than the DC, then she becomes observed to the goblin, assuming nothing else prevents it from seeing her. Also, 2 seek actions with regular successes get the same result. The last thing I'll add is that these rules affect how you can sense your allies as well. So you may not want everyone in your party to be invisible, because it becomes harder to heal and buff your allies. So that's it. I gave myself the goal of 9 minutes, not knowing how long this will be after I edit it. Hopefully I met my pedagogical goals. You might want to check out my longer video, or at least the second part, which has a combat demonstration which reinforces all of these rules. If you like this format, let me know, and also if there are other topics in Pathfinder you'd like me to cover, I can try to do so. I'll do my best. It is my low-effort arc after all. Like my video and subscribe. Also support my Patreon. It allows me to continue making these videos. Also join my Discord. There are thousands of us and I hang out there a lot. We talk Pathfinder 2e and other gaming, and we have a drop-in, drop-out organized play system called Endless Tale Tavern. So that's it. I've been Ronald the Rules Lawyer. See you next time.